open up into your packets for writing to the pre-writing brainstorm page. Now, this is the first step in the writing process. It's called pre-writing, and as you've learned in English class, pre means before. So we are going to do this worksheet and the next one before we even start writing our stories. So the very first thing we have to do is complete the sentence starters below. Our job right now is to come up with so many different ideas that we'll have to pick one from. Okay, so right now our job is just to get it all out and come up with many ideas. I was really excited when. Now this is going to take me a second, so I'm going to think in my head, when was I really excited? Now I had to actually pause the recording and take time to think about this. So I'm going to come up with, I was really excited when I was accepted into the Navy. So when I got my acceptance letter, I was really excited. Now pause the video and write down when you were really excited. Inspired means make you want to do something. So this next one says, I was inspired when. So think about when something happened that made you want to do it. So for me, again, I had to pause the video. This isn't something quick. I was inspired when Padma went swimming at 55 degrees out. So I went in too. Okay, so that's my inspired moment. Pause the video and write yours. I was helpful when. Well, I tend to be helpful, so this one's probably the easiest. I got a new job and helped some older teachers learn how to integrate technology in the classroom. So that's mine. I was helpful when. When were you helpful? Now it could be something as simple as helping your mom watch some kids. It could be being helpful to take the trash out. When were you helpful? Pause the video and write that down. Next, we have I was exhausted when. Oh, I know this one. This one is quick. On the Tiger Cruise, while I was in the military, they have what's called a Tiger Cruise, which is where your family comes on board the ship and they get to spend a couple days living with you on the ship. So on the Tiger Cruise, my family came aboard and I had to study for an exam. And it was a really big exam to earn one of my warfare pins. So I was so exhausted. I remember that to today. Now, again, you're going to need to pause the video and write down when you were excited, inspired, helpful, or exhausted. These aren't going to be necessarily what you write about, but we're just getting the ideas going, okay? So get the ideas going. All right, pause it. Now, on the next part, you're going to write a lesson you have learned from each person or event below. Now, this recording, it looks like, oh, I came up with these really quickly. Well, it took me about 10 to 15 minutes to write these down. So you're going to pause the video and come up with some. Now, for me, a lesson I learned from my friend Lauren back in college was how to receive a hug. I don't like being touched. And so she made it her goal to make it so that I would enjoy hugs. A childhood event, I grabbed the motor on our riding lawnmower and burned my hand. And I learned, don't touch things unless you know what they're for. A goal I achieved was I earned my Swissco pin. Now, Swissco is Surface Warfare Supply Corps Officer pin. And it takes about a year usually. I did mine in 6 months. And I had to stay focused and keep trying. And I never gave up. And so I really learned that lesson then. And a challenging moment was when I broke my back. Yep, I broke my back. And I used that time when I couldn't walk around to learn sign language. So I learned to embrace when I can't do what I want to do to find something else meaningful. So pause the video and now give it a try for yourself. Okay, open up to the pre-writing graphing page. Again, we're still pre-writing before we write our personal narrative. Let's read the directions. You are going to create a graph about your life, not my life, your life. On it, you will put some of the high points and some of the low points in your life. So some of the really good things that happen and some of the things that make you really sad or angry or depressed. But remember, you should not put anything that makes you feel uncomfortable. Okay, we are going to read these in front of our classmates and in front of our family and friends. So don't put anything that's going to make you feel uncomfortable. 1. Review the events below to spark memories of important events in your life. These are just ideas. You can add any event to your life graph. Think about it. So, you have these lines here. Right now, all I want you to do is write down the event. Now, as you can see, I've written down all of my events and my ages. So, some events that happened in my life, my sister slammed my finger in a car door and I had to go to the emergency room. I had Christmas with my grandma and grandpa Kellys, which are actually my step-grandparents, and my dad got to come. So I had all my parents with me for that Christmas. Mom made a castle cake for my birthday. I made a free throw as a 9th grader without my glasses. So in a basketball game, did that. I earned my Swissco pin, which is a Surface Warfare Supply Corps officer pin, which is a huge deal in the military. My aunt and uncle divorced, which to me was pretty big because it meant my cousins, we didn't play with them as much after that. I pushed my sister down at church and gave her a fat lip. We went swimming with the neighbors and got in trouble for being rude to my sister. And I remember that. I was only 5 years old when that happened. Swimming with neighbors, graduated from Cornerstone University with my bachelor's degree. I also have my master's degree, and as you know, I'm working on my doctorate. I finished OCS, which is Officer Candidate School, which is when you have a bunch of Marines telling you what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. And I broke my back. Now, you should have all your events. What I want you to do now is to write your age that happened. Okay? So, if you don't know your exact age, put a close estimate, okay? Pause the video and do that now. The next thing that you need to do is rank them. Now, number 1 is the best thing. Number 10 is the worst thing. Now, number 1 for me is when Christmas with my grandma and grandpa Kellys, which is my step-grandparents, and my dad got to come. So all my parents were there. That was a big deal. That was my favorite memory. My worst memory is when I broke my back. And everything I went through and all of that to this day. You know, I remember a lot of those details. And so that's number 10. In the middle, Mom made me a castle cake for my birthday. That was a huge deal. It was so exciting because my birthday's in July, so I don't have friends, but family came over and it was a lot of fun. So 1 is the best, 10 is the worst. How would you rank your events? Pause the video and do that now. The next thing we're going to do is rank the events. So event number 1 for me is Christmas, and that happened at the age of 8. So here we have rank number 1, age 8. So event number 2 for me is finished OCS. I was 24, so pretty sure it doesn't go that high. So I'm just going to go all the way up to 13. All right, so that's what you're going to do. You find the rank, so 3, and what was the age? 25. Go ahead and do that for all of yours. Pause the video while you do that. Now this needs to be done neatly, and when you're all done, remember it's your ranking and then how old you are for that ranking. And see if you notice anything. For me, I noticed a lot of things happen when I was at like 25 years old and 8 years old and 5 years old. Those seem to be some big things that I remember in my life. Do you notice anything about yours?